Hey there, Floss Tube. Welcome to episode number 20. My name is Liz. My company is Hello from Liz Matthews, and I am excited to be here with you today. It's been a while. Not too much is going on, but I do have some things I want to share with you. My little stitchy piles of happiness are adding up, and I am excited to spend a little bit of time with you today. I hope you guys are doing well, staying healthy. I hope you had a good Easter if you celebrate. We do celebrate. And needless to say, it was a little bit different this year. My father-in-law prepared the full Easter dinner and then packaged it up and dropped a portion off to me and Joe, my sister-in-law, her husband, and baby, and saved some for themselves. And we had a digital Easter dinner at 3 p.m. It's funny how you make things work. You make it work. It definitely wasn't as good as being there, connecting in person, but you make it work. So that was my Easter. I hope that you guys had a good one as well. Things here, we're hanging in there. We're going with the flow. I do have this really weird thing that happened to me. I have broken out in what I think are hives. Joe says they're hives. I've never experienced anything like this before. They're patches all over my body that itch terribly. I thought I had gotten bit. Maybe there was like a spider in my pajama bottoms or top and I slept and it bit me everywhere. No, they're not bites. They itch like crazy. They are annoying as all get out and they're everywhere. And I don't know what they're from. Nothing's changed. No detergent changed. No food changed. No nothing changed. Except my stress level. So I tend to be someone who feels that everything is fine. Mentally, I'm like, okay, I'm good. And then my body betrays me and things happen. So that might be what's going on now. But itching's no good. I'm about to take some Benadryl, but I wanted to get this filmed first in case it knocks me out. We shall see. Is that TMI? I hope that's not too much TMI, but it's real life and that's what's going on here now. We did venture out one day to the grocery store. We tried to do a pickup at our local grocery store. Turns out they only had about half of what we ordered. I'm sure you guys are experiencing the same thing. I've heard it's pretty common. So I was like, no, I'm gonna go. So I masked up, gloves, got everything we needed. We're good for another month here at home. But it was very strange to walk around and see everybody being quite safe. It's weird because it wasn't weird to be in a mask and gloves because everybody was doing it, but it's also really weird. All in all, I'm just really ready for life to get back to normal, as we all are. I'm also starting to think about planting my garden outside. I don't do a very elaborate garden because in reality I don't have time to garden, and I've spent way too much money in the past, been way too ambitious, and the truth is that I just don't have enough time now more than ever to get out and do a fancy garden. So we're going to do some herbs, some tomatoes, some peppers, flowers. I'm going to do a cutting garden that hopefully is a little less maintenance than a vegetable garden, but I have no idea where I'm going to source everything from. So today I'm going to spend some time looking for seeds online because I think it might be early enough and the temperatures might be warm enough that starting, germination from seeds might be okay in this area. So that's Benadryl and seed buying for my garden outside. That's what's been going on here. I have been stitching my little fingers to the bone. I have some things to show you, some finishes to show you, getting ready for my May releases. Mom and I are planning on doing a simultaneous release. We're gonna do a release reveal video together, except just today I started thinking about that. We're not supposed to be together. How are we going to do a release and reveal video? So I need to chat with her. There is not a set date in May for that yet. We just know it's in May. We're both still working. It will not be the first bit of May. I will give you a heads up on that. And as soon as we can iron out that date, I will let you know. But yeah, I'm not sure how we're going to do that. We did get together Saturday, the day before Easter, we met in a parking lot halfway between my house and hers, drove our cars, sat in them with our masks on, and just talked for an hour and a half because it has been way too long, and it was really nice to catch up with her. So like I said, you find ways to make it work, and I don't want to call it the new normal because please don't let this be the normal, but temporary fixes. It was really nice to see her. She did pass off my birthday gift. My birthday was back in March. It was March 20th. And we had, I'll get into it later, but we had intended to do some antiquing together. That couldn't happen, obviously. So she found my birthday gift online, and that's gonna come in a little bit because I can't wait to show you. I showed it on my Instagram if you haven't seen it there yet. It's good. Mom's gifts are the best. So I'll share that in a little bit, but we did get to catch up. She gave me some chocolate Easter bunnies, which are all gone because quarantine, right? Joe and I are trying to get back into our keto diet. We did keto diet for about 2 years now. We've lost together at most, no longer accurate, we lost 120 pounds together. So we need to get back on that. It helps not having all the good food in the house. Makes for a little bit of a more grumpy wife sometimes, but helps in the long run. So trying to think what else is going on. I do have really random notes. If you see me looking down, that's what I'm peeking at because there are so many things I wanted to share with you over the course of these last 2 weeks that I just made really quick notes. I've been partaking in more like virtual stitch togethers, and I highly recommend that still. We talked about it in my last video. I've been using a program called Webex, which was shown to me from Kia B. It works great. So if you are looking for a virtual stitch date, setting up a virtual stitch together, try Webex. It works really well. And again, all I did was post something on social media that said, I'm in search of stitching friends to get together with digitally. Put yourself out there. It has resulted in some really, really great groups of friends forming and some really fun nights. And I just appreciate everybody who's spent time with me, who's invited me into their group, who has joined me. You guys are like keeping me sane, and I appreciate it so much. So I really, really encourage you to do that if it's something you're interested in, or if you're feeling lonely. It's a great thing to do. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm happy to help facilitate that. A warning, you're gonna get like no stitching done during these group get-togethers. I swear, nothing. I think in some of them I just sit there like this, just talking, because the conversation's good, and you start with people who are passionate about the same things you are, and it just goes from there. And all of my groups have been getting together on the regular, so because I do think that most of us will be stuck indoors for a bit longer, I can't say enough good things about it, and I encourage you to put yourself out there if it's something that feels a bit nerve-wracking. It's so worth it. And again, reach out to me if you have any questions. I want to get everybody going in these stitch groups. So I've been doing that, and I also did an Instagram live over a week ago now. I think I put my last video up, I don't even know what day it was. And then a couple days later, I did an Instagram live for about an hour. They are really, really fun because it's real-time connections and conversations, but I do get very paranoid that I'm boring everybody. I'm typically stitching while doing it so that I have something to focus on and places for my mind to go and subjects to talk about, but I do get really worried that I'm just a bore. So I've been doing them. I will continue to do them when the mood strikes. They're challenging, to be truthful. They're, for me, not for everybody. For me, they can be a little bit daunting. And I also tend to forget what I have talked about in my live Instagram videos and in my Floss Tube videos. So I went back and watched my last Floss Tube before sitting down to film this. If I'm repeating myself, I apologize. I got to keep better track of it. I can't remember everything. So look for those. I always announce them on my Instagram stories in the morning. If I feel like I'm going to do it, I'll say, hey, I'm going to do this at 2, and hopefully you can join me. My Instagram handle is Hello from Liz Matthews. I'm thinking about changing my YouTube name here. It's just Liz Matthews, just to keep everything together and concise and the same. Not together, the same, you know? So if you see a change on your Floss Tube YouTube subscriptions, just know that it's still me and I'm changing it to Hello from Liz Matthews. Been doing that. I am so thankful for my friends. I felt like I should name this video I Get By With a Little Help from My Friends, because between their Floss Tube videos, their lives, their virtual stitch togethers, their kindness, their comments, it's just been really nice. And again, like I said in my last video, like this really unexpected silver lining to this weird world situation that's happening. Let's see, from here, let's get into some stitching, shall we? I've already talked 11 minutes about life updates. I don't think I ever do that, but hey, we've got time, right? So let me show you what I have been working on. The first thing I think will come as a surprise to you. This is something that is insanely overdue for me. This is something that I should have finished a long time ago. It is for a very special person, and this is a punch needle piece. So this is going to be shipped out tomorrow. I'm not going to give too many details away about it. It's not going to be a pattern that's released. It's one of a kind for someone who really, really helped me out and that I appreciate so much. Shipping out tomorrow, but it was really a joy to get back into punch needling. I did do this on a virtual stitch together because if you've never punch needled before, it's really just filling in with threads. There's no counting. You just fill in with a wash of color. So it's the perfect thing to do if you have some stitch togethers planned or some virtual stitch dates and you've been wanting to try a punch needle. Maybe now is the time to give it a try, because it actually is just perfect. You're not looking at anything. You're not referencing anything. You're maybe changing the thread on your needle every once in a while, but I got this done last night and I'm so happy to get it out to its owner tomorrow. I really, really like how it turned out, and I kind of forgotten how much I like punch needle. So stay tuned for more of that coming. I have gotten several questions lately asking if I have any punch needle supplies in my shop. Sadly, I do not anymore, but you could look up adjustable punch needle in Etsy and find all of the needles and supplies you need there. They are abundant. I really appreciate everybody coming to me, trying to support my small shop. It's not something that I carry for the time being, and they're very easy to get, and I hope that you guys do pursue punch needle and give it a try because it's really fun. Also, speaking of kind of unusual needlework things, punch needle, and my embroidery patterns that I shared last Floss Tube, you guys have blown me away with orders and sweet comments about it. You're really liking it. I am so beyond happy to be getting all of those patterns out the door and into good hands, and to know that people are going to be working them and enjoying them in this crazy time makes me so thrilled. So thank you so much for all of your support with them. Some of the patterns have sold out. They are in my Etsy shop, which I will link in the description box below. You can still get most of them. They're really fun. Go back to my last Floss Tube, number 19, if you're interested in what I'm talking about, or you're like, what? Sounds curious. They're really cool. I really like them. They're really fun. Still available. So go check that out, Etsy shop, or my last Floss Tube. So that's been my embroidery. I hadn't actually done any embroidery and punch needle history. I did finish this guy up. I wasn't sure if I was going to show it, but I'm going to show it because it's done. I'm so thrilled with it. It took way longer than I thought, but it's done. It looks so similar to the original, which I don't have out here to show you now, but it is done. I love this piece. This will be released in May. It is one of the 4 that will be out then. And You guys, it took time. You've seen this for quite a few videos now, but it was so worth it. Again, it has the 4-sided stitching in one alphabet, eyelet stitching in another. Then down here, we got to a type of stitching I'd really never done before. It was very detailed, required a lot of attention, but was really, really fun when I could focus and get into it. So I like could not love this anymore. And something that I talked about in my Instagram live video is that when I pulled the original of this out to look at, shoot, I hope I'm not repeating myself. I might have talked about this in my last Floss Tube, but when I pulled the original out and really studied it for finishing, it turns out that it too is what I called a grain sack sampler, meaning it was stitched on fabric that had like banding on either side and resembles a antique grain sack. So this piece, this reproduction, the antique piece, was also a grain sack, as was one of my market release samplers. So that was really cool. I feel like that was not explained very well, but I hope we can just go with it. So what you're gonna find on this piece are the 2 bands on the side. In my grain sack sampler, again, already released at market, these stripes were woven because the grain sack sampler was stitched on 32 count weeks dye works. This is 40 count R&R, much, much tighter weave. So I wasn't able to do like a woven banding down the side. So it's just straight cross stitch. You can finish it however you like, but you guys, I did it and I love it. Yay. So trying to put patterns out in the time of a pandemic is a little bit challenging when it comes to framing. So far, this has been exactly as every release will be. Pretty simple, stitching, adjusting, finishing, planning, but then step on the brakes when it comes time to frame, because all of the framing stores that I use are closed. Enter Michelle Bendy Stitchy, who shared on one of her Floss Tubes recently that she found a great custom framer on Etsy. Frame and Wire is their shop name. I was so thankful to her for sharing that information because I reached out to them and they couldn't have been any nicer or more helpful. And I now have a custom frame coming for this piece as well as another piece which I showed you parts of before. It's a circle, if you recall. So I have a frame for that and this piece on its way, well, being made and then on its way to me. Etsy saves the day, friends save the day. I'm so appreciative to her for that information because I was really like, how am I gonna finish this? I really put a lot of care and time and want to produce and put out as perfect a product as possible. And when it came to framing, I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Like, this can't be made into a pillow. How creative can I get with a big reproduction sampler? So luckily, a frame is on its way. I love this so much, you guys. So that is a finish, yay. By the way, I laugh out loud every time I watch Pam and Steph and they say happy finishes everyone, or ring that bell, or do mail call, and I'm not going to do it, but I totally want to steal it. Happy finishes everybody, in honor of Pam and Steph. Don't worry, not stealing it, but it makes me smile every time I think about it. Speaking of finishes, I have one more, another release for May. I'm not gonna show you all of it because I don't want to give it all away. I don't know why I'm being weird about this, but I'm going to show you this much of it. You can make some guesses or some assumptions if you want. It wouldn't be hard to guess and figure out, but this is a really, really cool piece that I finished, and I already have the frame for. Another hint. That's another hint if you're familiar with my previous releases. But this is stitched on a 36 count weeks using for the very first time a thread gatherer silk and color thread. And I just have to talk about it. So another finish, yay, and this thread. So I did share these threads with you in a previous floss tube. They come spun and wound so beautifully that you don't even want to unwind them. It like, oh, I hated unwinding it and bobbinating it, but I did. This is called Smokestack from the Thread Gatherer Silk and Color collection. This was such a surprise. I didn't know that I would enjoy stitching with this as much as I did. It's a slightly variegated brownish purple ink black color. It's so lovely. It has like a nice faded look, a vintage antique look, which you know is my look. And this was a joy to stitch with. I did it 2/2 for this piece. Let's see, can you see some of the variegations there? I'm really bad at this. But you can see some color changes throughout that text there. It's just really lovely. It is 12 ply silk. So I was really worried that one skein was not going to be enough to finish that piece. It's quite large when you unfold it, but with so many strands of such a high ply count, is that how you would say that? Like I may be halfway through. So that was a really nice surprise. And the way it stitches is very plush and silk. Again, I did 2/2, so 2 strands of thread that was just very like pillowy and dense, and I really, really enjoyed it. I've already placed an order for more of these because I want to use them in future releases because it was really nice. And if you haven't used them, don't be deterred if you find them in shop or online and you see the price tag. Let's be real, they're pricey. I want to say in the Thread Gatherer shop, it's $8.45 per skein. But you guys, in my opinion, as long as you can afford it, I think it is so worth it because of the joy that you are going to receive working something with this silk. It's so beautiful. And like I said, the fact that it's 12 ply means it goes even longer. Okay, didn't mean to stay there so long to say how much I love the silk and color thread, but I really do. And if you're looking to try something new during this quarantine, maybe try that. Okay, I have also been doing some reading. Yes, not of novels. I don't have time for that. But I have been reading this book that I picked up at Market. It is Delaware Discoveries, Girlhood Embroidery, 1750 to 1850. I got this from Kitten Stitcher. She has them online. You can still purchase them there. And to be real, I bought it because of the pictures, because they're really inspirational, really good, super beautiful. But I also wanted to learn more about the history of needlecraft and this art form, and it is more interesting than I ever thought it would be, if I'm being totally honest. It is crazy how much you can tell about the state of the country and our history just based off needlework. I'm always horrible at showing books and pictures, don't want to drop it. But if you are interested in learning more about how needlework was influenced by history, this is a great book. There's a lot of information about the makers of each piece that I kind of skim through, but then there's information about like how girls were educated, why they were educated in some ways. There's a lot of information about the teachers who taught girls how to sew and do samplers and needlework in here that have such influence and such reach that it really, really surprised me. So I've been super enjoying this book. They are they're pricey. They're pricey. This was $75. But it's good. It's good. Like, okay, I could go on and on about this, and I did in my Instagram live. Look at these pictures. These were done by two different people, but the same teacher taught it, so they are nearly identical except for some color changes, some initial changes, and the ways that, you know, a maker like makes it their mark. And, you know, like, does that make sense? Like, as you are a creator, the way your works stand apart. Let's go with that, right? This was 1808. Same teacher in Delaware, two different girls, Margaret and Ellen. So, if you want to treat yourself to some good reading during quarantine, and you are a historic needlework lover, check it out. It's really good. I do want to do maybe a dedicated video in the future going over all of the things that I've learned. I want to share it. It's very, very interesting, and I know that not everybody will be into it, so I will do that separately. I will let you know. I need to like really snap back to my college days and take some notes. And who am I kidding? I didn't do that many papers or research in college. I was an art major. But I'll get it together and share some information with you because it's really, really informative and good to know. Okay. Shall we do haul-ish? Things I've accumulated. That's what I have left for you. Things I purchased, and also things I've been gifted, as well as some good community news. Let's do that good community news. So I have been stitching with Steph from Just Keep Stitching and Kia B. She and her husband have a YouTube channel. Her husband is Tech Guy in the Hive. We've been getting together digitally and stitching for a couple hours each week. And getting to know Kia and Steph has been really like such, it's just been wonderful. And Kia has a campaign that she talks about and supports on her channel. You can hear her talk about it more clearly than I am about to in her last video, which was entitled All the Bee Bags. But what it is Kia started a campaign to remind people to be kind and encouraging while on this social platform, because I mean, that's why we're all here. Isn't that what you want to spread and share and give to other people? Kindness and encouragement. So she started a sampler, which happened to be mine. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know Kia. I didn't know this was happening until I met her at Market, and she and Nathan told me about it, which caused a whole like binge sesh of their videos and me just totally falling in love with them and their kindness and their spirit and what they bring to the community. So what she's doing is stitching my pattern Be Kind, Be True as a reminder to herself and to this community to be kind and be an encouragement and a source of positivity whenever you can. So she's been, sharing her progress as she goes, and I really loved seeing that, and I've loved that that is the connection and how Kia and I, oh, there's a squirrel, became friends and how we're growing our friendship. So in honor of Kia and Nathan and their channel and what they are doing, I want to give one of my Be Kind, Be True charts away to someone who left me one of the nicest comments I've ever received, and I think about it often. It is Olivia B. She commented in the past in a way that I really appreciated. A sweet comment from me and my mom. And because that touched me so much and left such an impression, I want to send this to Olivia. So please, I will contact you if you could reach out to me. If you see this, I will get this in the mail to you in honor of Nathan and Kia and what they are doing. And if you would like to join them in this awesome campaign, all they ask is that you stitch something that has a bee on it. Does not have to be my chart. Anything that speaks to you that has a bee to remind you to be kind and encouraging out there in the social world. That's that. And through my friendship with Kia and Steph, because we all three of us dove into the world of 40 count linen at the same time. Steph did it, Kia did it, and then I did it. And I was like, I'm doing it. You guys know I've talked about it. I've been a little hesitant and a little bit afraid. And in fact, this was my first endeavor into 40 count because I went to market and bought a yard of 40 count linen because why wouldn't you, right? Then I was like, they're doing it, I'm doing it, so we all did it. Follower, I guess. Kia also picked up a yard of 40 count linen at market and we decided to swap. So she sent me some 40 count Confederate gray from Weeks Dye Works. It's really good. Not only is the color really like awesome and neutrally, but I really like the weave of it. Now, this is not the Zweigart base, so it's a little bit more open, which is actually exactly what I like because it has a bit more of a historic look. Let me see if I can get you a close-up so you can see the open weave of it. You can see through it, which is not gonna be what everybody likes, but I sure do. As someone who stitches reproductions and kind of historic themed based pieces sometimes, I am all about it and I love it. Thank you so much, Kia. I can't wait to find out what I'm gonna put on this. I don't have plans for it yet, but I'm gonna put it in my stash and stitch something fabulous on it and think of you when I do. So thank you. Yay. In addition to that fabric from Kia, I also placed an order with the company Fiber on a Whim at market for some fat quarters. And to be honest, I didn't exactly remember what colors I chose. I knew that I picked them out when I was there, and it turns out these are the colors. Now these are Zweigart based linens and they are luscious. They're really, really good. So this is called Cocoa. It has a bit of a purple and brown undertones, has a lot of modeling. And this will be perfect for, I think, some Halloween or fall pieces if this is your color palette. They feel really good. They're soft, they're thick, they're good. This is the colorway Sand. It kind of has a yellow, almost green tint to it, and I think for the right project, this is gonna be a dream. There's that one. My last two favorites. Dunes. Oh, yeah. That screams me. I like it. And then this color, which is really unusual for me, as is the purple brown. This is Brick. Oh, this is fall. This is fall in a linen. You will see some of this pop up in the future. I like it. So that's Fiber on a Whim. You can order online. Got those 4 fat quarters. I have a puny haul from 123 Stitch. I thought for sure I was going to run out of one of my needlepoint silks for that reproduction I finished, so I placed an order and got my 1 NPI in the mail. I have realized, not surprisingly, excuse me, that 123 Stitch is taking quite a while to ship. Even though this was all I ordered and I was hopeful they could just slide it in, I think they're overwhelmed because all of us stitchers have time on our hands. So it is taking a while. Just a heads up, that probably took 2 weeks to get to me. And it might be better if you reach out to your LNS to get your products. I mean, let's support our brick and mortars now anyway. I got 500 of these bad boys. This is a postcard with my logo and name on the front, blank on the back. If you've ever ordered anything from me, you know that I put a personalized message in with every order, and it's typically on a folded thank you card. I thought this would be a nice upgrade, so I did it. I took the plunge, made the purchase, and I now have a box full of these that I can't wait to send out to anybody. I'm that weirdo though who's like, I gotta get through all those folded thank you cards before I can let myself use these, but they're coming. I sent one out to the sisterlies yesterday. They're the first people to get one. That's fun. And then I also wanted to share this card with you. This came from my friend Cindy. I had never seen this card before. Sorry. I'm in front of windows and animals are everywhere. This is a Blackbird design card that I have looked at so many times. I just put this on my mantle and I stare at it. This design is so good. It's so good. It did cause me to go down a Blackbird design rabbit hole, just admiring all of their work. This is the full piece. I'm sure that it is hard to come by, as are all, excuse me, this is not Blackbird Designs. This is Birds of a Feather, who is no longer in business. Not Blackbird, they're still in business. You guys love your Blackbird. This is Birds of a Feather. But oh my word, that's good. I love this card. Thank you, Cindy. I have looked at it so many times. Just wanted to share that eye candy with you. Scissors. So I've been talking in my Instagrams and on my Floss Tube about how I wanted a fancy pair of scissors and how I was kicking myself for not investing and finding some at Market. So I talked to my mom about it. She's like, hey, I have some Seiju scissors that I got at Market maybe last year or the year before at wholesale cost. I don't know why I got them, and they're yours if you want them. And I was like, yes, I want them. So she had a little trouble finding them, but when she did, she mailed them to me and I got to open a Happy Mail package. So these are the Seiju scissors with the faux tortoise shell handle. Yes, they're good. They're good. My report on these, because these retail for $100 on Etsy. Luckily, Mom got them wholesale at Nashville, and I will get more next year, but for now, this is what I have. But I like to be real with you. You guys know I'm frugal. I'm cheap. Let's be real. Okay. They cut really, really well. Like, there's no need to double cut. They are sharp. They cut my threads really well. But because this is faux tortoiseshell, it means it is just an acrylic. And I can't get over the light weight of them. Now, for some people, that might be a dream scenario. But for me, I'm like, they don't feel hefty enough to be a $100 pair of scissors. Also, oh gosh, I feel bad speaking, whatever, it's the truth. There's also a bit of wiggle room. If you open these, you can like wiggle. And again, I feel that there's a disconnect in my mind between a $100 pair of scissors and wiggle. Like, I darn near think that this should cut the thread for me. But as far as cutting goes, they do a beautiful, beautiful job. They make me happy every time I have to reach for them and grab them. They are so lovely. But that's my report on my Seiju scissors. Will I buy more? Absolutely. Will they be this style? Maybe not. Maybe I'm looking for a heftier, weightier, just as sharp pair. Okay. 3 more gifts. Speaking of sisterlies and how they received my first postcard, they also sent me an Acorns and Threads bag. I'm so happy to get this in my soul and in my spirit. I am part of the Acorns and Threads crew. crew. I wish I were there stitching with you guys on Thursdays. I stalk you all, I follow you all, and I have really happy memories of Acorns and Threads. Mom and I visited about 10 to 12 years ago now. She was teaching a retreat. I was along for the ride and met Janine then, and oh, I wish I could go back and do that again now as a stitcher. That would be a dream come true. But Cheryl and Colleen mailed both Mom and I a bag gifted from Janine, and I love it so much. I'm gonna fill it up with all my happy little stitching things and just keep it in my office and studio, looking at it and thinking of you guys. Thank you so much. Then, because I got together with Mom just Saturday to celebrate my birthday, well, no, we didn't get together to celebrate my birthday. She had my birthday gift because, as I said earlier, we weren't able to shop and we found something online that she ordered for me. So we got together, we were missing each other, and she had my birthday gifts for me. One of them is another book from Kitten Stitcher Shop. Now this is the same author as the other one, so I'm really excited about this. However, this deals with samplers produced in the District of Columbia area, which is very close to me. I'm just outside Baltimore. I do consider myself a suburb of DC. It takes about an hour to get in there. And in the grand scheme of the country, I would consider myself a DC suburb. So these are all from close to home. Really excited to look through this. This is from Anne. You guys know her as the Good Housewife. She sent this along for me for my birthday, and I can't wait to read it. Then the piece de resistance, is that how you say it? My gift for Mom is a map sampler that dates back to the late 1700s, early 1800s. It is a map of England and Wales. It is cross-stitched and embroidered, and it's in really great condition compared to others I've seen. Typically, the text in the center has been rubbed off. However, it is still intact on mine. Let me try to give you a close-up. I don't have too much information about this yet, but I just want to show it to you so you can see why I love it so much. That's silk embroidery on the edge, that flower wreath, and then the tiniest cross stitch you ever did see on the center of the map. If I had to guess, I would say that this is 60 count linen, 1/1 for all of the text. And I did originally think I might be able to reproduce this. I'm thinking that's not gonna happen. This is just hanging on my wall and I'm drilling over it constantly. I've been studying it quite a bit. Two of my favorite things are the England and Wales banner and the fact that it says Land's End right here. Let me try to show you those two things. Land's End, which I think is really cool. And then there's that little banner I wanted to point out. So big thank you to Mom who found this and had it shipped from England. This is such a find and I am absolutely in love with it. And I appreciate it so much, Mom. Thank you. So that wraps up my haul and everything that I have acquired and thought over the past couple weeks. I really appreciate you spending 45 minutes with me. This might be one of my longest videos ever. I'm gonna wrap it up quickly just for fear that it tries to split this video into 2 parts. So I'm gonna say goodbye now and thank you. I will be back soon. Find me on Instagram. Let's chat there. I hope you guys are doing well, staying healthy, and continue to stitch on.